Hey, what's up everybody, it's S. Dot. Today's video was supposed to be about this AR-15 that I put together last year. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned, so instead, you're getting, you guessed it, a Glock 19 video. So before I go on, let's talk a little bit about this build. So I actually bought this in 2023, but I didn't actually build it until 2024. I was a little bit reluctant, hesitant. I was kind of nervous to build it, but I finally did it sometime last year. I think it's almost been about a year now. I think I put it together, it may have been in April, if I had to guess. Now, if you want to check out that video, I'll try to remember to put a card up. Otherwise, just search my channel. I don't have a ton of videos, so if you want to know, what I put on it, the specific parts, and why I went with them, you can go ahead and check that out. But spoiler alert, everything was on sale, and it's primarily an Aero Precision build with Magpul furniture. After that video, I essentially put this rifle in a safe and haven't touched it since. That is until about a week ago. So I finally built up the courage, and I don't know if it was actually building up the courage or if I just wanted to get some use out of this paperweight. I wanted to make sure that when I was going to the range that I wouldn't have any excuses. So the night before, I prepped everything. I packed my bags, I charged my microphones, I even charged my GoPro. I should have known that something was gonna go wrong, and as luck would have it, things went wrong almost immediately. The first issue that I ran into were targets or lack thereof. So normally when I go to the range, I'm in the front pistol bay, but this time, obviously because I was shooting a rifle, I was in the back bay, which is a pistol and rifle bay. Now this is the first time I've been back there, so I didn't really know what they had, and I probably should have thought more about or planned for, what kind of targets were gonna be back there, but I just assumed that there was gonna be something back there, but there wasn't. Well, there were like 3 small plates. I think there were like 2 4 to 6 inch plates, and then maybe 1 8 to 10 inch plate. Now, I was gonna go back up to the front to pick up some cardboard because they do sell cardboard targets at the front, but I already had everything out. I already had all my stuff unpacked. So I figured that while I had everything out, that I would go ahead and shoot a shorts video. After I got everything set up, I decided to go ahead and take my first shot. Now, I didn't hit the plate at all, but in my defense, the rifle wasn't sighted in. In fact, these sights that I have on here now, I actually pulled these off of my AR-9 the night before. So I didn't even have a chance to make any adjustments.
I don't believe you.
Now this brings me to my second issue, which is the trigger. I don't know if there's something actually wrong with the trigger or if this is just how mil-spec triggers work, but when I would charge the rifle, the first shot would go just fine. So after the shot, the hammer would go up, obviously, and then come back and re-engage. And when I went to reset the trigger, I heard and felt like an audible reset, but then when I went to pull the trigger again, it was locked, kind of like it was unsafe. So I had to come all the way off the trigger and come all the way back on it for the second shot to go off. I'm not sure if that's normal, if that's typical with basic mil-spec triggers. This one is a part of the lower parts kit, nothing special, so I don't know if that's the issue. I do remember when I was putting the trigger in, I had an issue with this specific pin right here. It took me like 20 to 25 minutes to get it in, so I don't know if I did something wrong. I don't know if that's just how typical ARs shoot, or if I need to go ahead and replace the trigger, but either way, I need to go ahead and look into it a little bit more. That said, or those issues aside, I will say it was a success because it didn't explode and I didn't die. Because of those issues, I only went through about 2 or 3 magazines before I ended up calling it quits with this one. At that point, I decided to sneak across to the pistol bay to shoot my Glock19x MOS. Now, luckily I had this with me and I had around 150 rounds, or actually I take that back. I only had one full package, I think of 100. And then I think in the second pack, I think I probably had 25 to 30 rounds. So I had about 130 rounds, but it was better than nothing. Because if I would have went to the range with just the rifle and that would have been a wasted trip, I would have been. I didn't have a plan of what to work on, but ultimately I decided to practice on reloads. Now I've never actually done that before, but I figured, why not? So I started out doing 5 rounds in each magazine, and then I'd reload and then move on to the next magazine. Now, if you notice in that last clip, you'll notice that I did not drop my magazines in the dirt. I know a lot of YouTubers do that, and I see a lot of people training that way, and they throw their mags in the mud, in the dirt, in the river. Unfortunately, that's just not in my ministry. I'm not gonna be able to drop my clean mags unless I have to. So I understand that working on reloads, it's gonna slow me down a little bit and probably, not the best for muscle memory, but I just can't see myself dropping good, clean magazines in the dirt unless I have to. Now, when I was out there, I do think I made a couple of mistakes on when I was loading. I think some magazines had 4, some maybe had 6, either that or I just lost track when I was counting. However, I was making sure to keep up until the slide locked back. The other thing that I noticed is that my first shot and sometimes my second shot were pretty bad, and then either the last shots or the next magazines tended to be better. And I think that's because that first shot, I think I'm anticipating the recoil. Sometimes when I think there's a round in the chamber and I pull the trigger, I'll have like a little jump. And so I think that's causing me to consistently shoot low and to the left. In fact, even with my AR, I did the same thing. So the first shot was fine, or at least I thought it was fine. Again, I couldn't see where the shot went, but I think I was pretty close. The second shot, I did notice I had the same issue where I kind of had a little anticipation and kind of pulled low and to the left. So I think I'm having the same issue with the AR as I'm having with my Glock 19. That is something that I really want to work on. So if you know of any drills to help with anticipation, definitely drop them in the comments. I don't know if that's going to be dry firing, or I don't know if that's going to be just more time at the range. Either way, if you know of any anticipation drills or something that would help me stop anticipating the first shot, definitely drop me a comment. Now, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite firearms to shoot. Now, I know what you're gonna say, that I said that about my Glock 19 and my Glock 19 MOS and the 43X MOS and now the Glock 19X MOS. But honestly,
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
in all seriousness, maybe I just like shooting, or maybe I just like Glocks. Now, if I could actually carry this, I would. However, I think the grip is just a little too long, so I think the Glock 19 is probably gonna be the biggest gun I'll be able to carry on a day-to-day basis. I'm definitely gonna be bringing this one to the range, probably every chance I get. As far as modifications go, I definitely wanna put a compensator on it. I was always gonna get a Radian Ramjet, but since this one already has a threaded barrel, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a compensator on it. I just started the process of, researching different products, watching YouTube videos. So if you have any recommendations on, ones to get or ones to steer clear of, drop me a comment and I'll definitely check them out. Now, as far as other drills, I mentioned it earlier, I definitely need to work on some anticipation, but I'm going to continue working on reloads, target acquisition. So if you have any, drills that you guys like to do at the range, whether it be indoor or outdoor, I'm not necessarily looking for like running and gunning, but just more so working on becoming a better marksman. Now, I'm going to go through my footage to see if there's anything else worth showing. But before I do that, I do want to talk about the GoPro debacle. So I planned for a new angle the night before, like I mentioned earlier. I even tested it out to see if it worked, but I only thought about it from the firearm perspective. I didn't think about it from the target. So I have a bunch of footage that looks like this. And if I find any other videos that I think you'll like, I'll go ahead and drop them in now. If not, I'll see you guys in the next video.